These kids don't have God in their life. That's why they do the things they do. They have no repercussions, no conscience. That's why they do the things they do.
The shooting was on the street, but the events that led up to it started inside a McDonald's around the corner.
They was going to get something to eat. Some kids supposed to have started trouble, and words was exchanged or whatever. And
Today we're going to be in the Bronx in New York, speaking about a young man who was exemplary on and off the field. 16-year-old Christopher Redding Jr. was greatness in the making when he devoted his life to the football field. He didn't just play football, though. He was a future NFL player in the making. Christopher was widely known as CJ and was making all the right decisions to make sure his hard work in his teen years would guide him to the man he hoped to be one day in the near future. His future was clear. He was laser focused, with nothing standing in his way. But all that would change after an encounter with a group of young people who decided to take his life away. Christopher came into the world in January of 2010 as his mother's third child and first son. Named after his biological father, Christopher Sr., CJ enjoyed a life not only in the big city of New York, but also in the small town of Glenville, Georgia, where he had family ties to. He would remain the youngest child of his mom and biological dad until he was 9, and that is when he became a big brother for the first time in 2019. His little sister was a welcoming addition to the family, but sadly, after only a few months, his sweet baby sister passed away. This was definitely a hard blow to CJ's parents, who would then go their separate ways. CJ was now the youngest child again, and he was his mother's entire world alongside his two older sisters, and she devoted her life to them. His mom would eventually start dating again, and by 2021, she and her now husband had a child together, making CJ a big brother again and not the only boy in the family. Now, as of 2026, CJ had grown into a responsible teen and was currently a sophomore at John F. Kennedy High School, where he was popular on and off the field. He had recently turned 16 in January of 2026, and in a few years, he had plans to be off at college, balling out, and making his parents proud. There was nothing that his family would not do to ensure his success in life, and besides football at school, he also participated in other teams playing flag football as well.
Good job, CJ! There he goes. Woohoo!
Graham, over here. Over here, Graham.
Keep going, CJ. Keep going. Keep going. Go up the field. Up the field.
Yeah, you got it.
Up the field. Up the field. Where the flag at? Touchdown. Touchdown.
For anyone who can see, it was obvious that he was good, and over the years he was getting better and better. However, his life would be stolen from him on February 2026 day after an after-school run to McDonald's turned fatal. The exact day was February the 11th, and the McDonald's in question is located at 5765 Broadway in the Bronx. Inside that McDonald's, a young girl would buy a vanilla ice cream cone, and allegedly someone accidentally bumped her, causing her ice cream to hit the floor. This was said to have made the young girl mad, unreasonably upset over a vanilla cone. It's important to note that the staff offered to give her another cone and that the girl who accidentally bumped her offered to buy her another one. However, the young girl allegedly refused and decided that an altercation would be the better option. This young girl, who was also allegedly in the 8th grade, called her boyfriend to back her up. She then left the McDonald's and met up with him, plus 2 other males, and the 4 of them would head back to the McDonald's. Now, mind you, while this 8th grader was premeditating her plan and it was all unfolding, The New York Police Department 50th Precinct is only steps away from the McDonald's. So police are literally everywhere. But do you think that mattered to these 4 young people? No, it sadly didn't. Making it even more clear just how unhinged and disconnected these young people are. No fear of nothing, and it's truly heartbreaking. Once they reached the fast food establishment, the girl who allegedly bumped the 8th grader by accident was nowhere in sight, but the teens decided they wanted an issue with someone anyway. This is when an altercation took place between the 4 and another young girl, and it ended up spilling out onto the street. Shots were fired minutes later, and multiple people began to flee. The first call came into the New York Police Department around 5:12 p.m. Now this map shows where everything took place, and it looks as though the kids almost ran into a circle trying to get away, because the location where CJ and the others were shot was a 6-minute walk from the McDonald's. Video obtained by the local press shows panicked bystanders scattering too, as gunfire rang out. Seconds later, video surveillance captured CJ collapsing face down onto the pavement as 2 bystanders tried to lift him up before officers would walk up. A 13-year-old girl and a 15-year-old boy were also shot too, but they were expected to survive. Sadly though, CJ was struck in the leg and upper body, and unfortunately, the bullet went right through his chest and he succumbed to his injuries right on the scene.
At 10:05 here, let's go to the Bronx because it's been a tough couple of days. Gun violence has claimed the life of a 16-year-old and left 2 more teens hurt yesterday evening.
It's just a nightmare. The shooting just after 5 in the evening was the result of some kind of fight. This fight escalated, and this morning police are still looking for the person who is responsible for those shootings.
There is just a cloud of sadness over this Kingsbridge community, and many folks who I've been speaking with this morning, they are just devastated to see all of this happen right on their doorstep. And cops say that this all spiraled from an argument at a McDonald's just down the street over spilled vanilla ice cream. Well, bullets would fly here on 238th Street just shortly after, claiming the life of 16-year-old Christopher Redding and leaving 2 other teens wounded.
As the news spread about the horrific crime, one person said, "This is how comfortable criminals feel about breaking the law on the front line of the 50th Precinct. Shame on you, 50th. You have lost your footing, and the things happening in our community are reflective of how much you have neglected and stopped serving hardworking, law-abiding citizens living in the area." On February 12th, police released images of the 4 suspects, the 3 males and 1 female, who investigators said fled after the crime took place. One man was last seen wearing all black with brown boots and a mask. A second wore a blue jacket, blue jeans, and white sneakers, and a third was dressed in all black. Police, alongside loved ones, are appealing to the public for help identifying these individuals who they say are the 4 alleged suspects wanted for questioning in the murder of 16-year-old Christopher Redding. After these photos came out, one of the teens was taken into custody Saturday, February 14th. He is facing multiple charges, including murder, attempted murder, manslaughter, assault, and criminal possession of a weapon. But due to his age, law officials are not releasing his name.
Police say they have arrested a 17-year-old boy in the shooting death of 16-year-old Christopher Redding. That 17-year-old boy is now facing a slew of charges, including murder, manslaughter, and criminal possession of a weapon.
Hopefully, all the remaining 3 are caught before too long, because it's clear that they are a danger for their community. And I hope that the one that was already arrested is talking and singing like a canary.
Heartbroken parents with an emotional plea to find everyone responsible for their son's murder.
There were prayers.
Jesus is the answer for the youth.
And there was unfiltered pain and suffering.
He wasn't in no game. My son was a good son, an honest boy, and I want justice for my son.
From a mother and father who feel society has let them down. CJ Redding, a budding Bronx high school football star, lost his life at just 16 years old. He tried to run from the bullets, but died at the hands of an adolescent offender.
It's never going to be the same for none of us.
They're looking for the system to get tougher on youth violence.
I feel it should be a new law, a bill passed that parents be held accountability for crimes like this.
Bronx District Attorney tonight asking the community to cooperate and not hesitate in handing over any tips that can help track them down.
The loss of CJ runs deep in his family and community, and no one can understand how someone with so much potential for his future, a good kid, be gunned down the way he was. The video of the whole thing is beyond disturbing to watch, and he was running for his life before getting blasted in the back and leg and then hitting the ground. EMTs tried for so long to help him, but in the end, it was sadly too late. His injuries were just too severe. One person close to CJ wrote, "CJ, I miss you, man, bad. I can't sleep. I'm still in disbelief. I go over to the house, and the first thing I do is check your room all the time. I'm not letting you go. I can't. It doesn't feel right to me. I can't just move on. I love you more than you'll ever know. I'm screaming your name everywhere. People are going to know exactly who you were. A future NFL star, a true MVP on that field. I am not okay and won't be for some time." A life with so much potential has been lost, leaving a large hole in the lives of many who loved him dearly. People can't even raise their families and keep their children safe anymore because of so much unnecessary gun crimes, and it's heartbreaking. Let me know your thoughts. My prayers are with everyone involved in this tragic situation, and I pray that full justice will be served sooner than later. Also, please don't forget to comment your prayers for this family in this difficult time and hit that like button and share to make your people aware. And as always, remember to stay woke. Things change quickly.